So, welcome to the Echo Flow podcast. Today, I'm really happy to be speaking to my brother in the Shaolin school, Alexis Charrier. Is that how I pronounce your name?
Charrier.
Charrier. It's a French name, right? So,
Yes, it's French
Alexis
name.
has been, just a quick introduction. He's been training and teaching Shaolin martial arts in Canada and France for the past 2 decades. He was a music student at McGill University and first studied under Kungfu Ming Thong, a master of Shaolin, Tai Chi, Singing, and Baguazhang in Canada. I was very honored to be introduced to Kungfu Ming Thong last year, thanks to Alexis. And after learning from Kungfu Ming Thong, Alexis frequented Penang to learn from the late Grandmaster Kungfu Pen Chai Kim, also my late Grandmaster from Penang Shaolin Athletic Association. Alexis has mastered all fundamentals of Shaolin, including Iron Fist, Iron Shirt, and various forms of internal and external forms of martial arts. He's also a certified acupuncturist from the College of Chinese Medicine, London, under Dr. Don Stevens, and currently practices in his clinic, Assistance Clinical Therapeutic. Besides being a part-time martial arts teacher and acupuncturist, he's actually well known as an international musician and has toured the world, Canada, Japan, USA, New York, Chicago, LA, France, Czech Republic, Vietnam, Malaysia, etc. And he has played with many artists such as Cornell, Tandy Klassen, El Haji, and Karim Diouf, etc. Alexis loves to harness the power of music and art creation with a broad audience of fellow music lovers and passionate musicians alike. He has also composed music for Universal Pictures and DreamWorks video games such as Shrek 4 and Iron Man 2. So as you all can see, Alexis is a very multi-talented person.
Task.
Alexis, if there's anything I missed out in your introduction, would you like to share with the audience?
No, it's perfect. Thank you. Thank you very much.
In that case, let me just dive into the first question for you. How have you been doing during the lockdown? Are you still training Shaolin martial arts every day?
Yeah, I train every day on my own, of course, because we don't have the right or the opportunity to train with more than one person at the time. So we were on lockdown, but I did a few classes on online, like live. And I took the time and the chance to discuss with my masters and my friends who are instructors. And so I did a few interviews of them. I think you saw them.
Yep.
Only for the Sao Lim groups, for people practicing Sao Lim around the world that are part of the group on Facebook. So it's private interviews for the people who's been practicing.
Yep.
So yeah, I practice quite a few on my own. We had a lot of rain actually, and now it's sunny, but we had a lot of rain, so I couldn't practice as much as I wanted because when it rains here, it pours rain and it's quite cold. But I always practice at least 30 minutes, 45 minutes per day since the last 20-something years. And sometimes I practice for 4 hours, 5 hours. Sometimes when I'm in Malaysia, I practice all day.
Yeah.
And night.
So,
yeah, practicing Saolim or Qigong or Tai Chi, whatever, meditation, it's part of my everyday life.
Yeah, same here. During the lockdown, I've been doing Qigong and a lot of Tai Chi Chuan in the morning. And also a little bit of Shaolin training. I've resumed the basic trainings like Fa Jing, and I'm also planning to go back to train after some time. And I forgot to introduce a little bit about how we met. Alexis and I have known each other for more than a decade. When I was training in the Shaolin,
a child.
When I was still a child, I was 13 years old when he first came to Penang that time. And
I don't think it was the first time. I think it was the second time I came.
It was your second time.
Yeah, I think so. When we met. The first time I came was for Tsunami. It was in 2004, I think.
Oh, that time I was too young. I was still back in my elementary school.
That's the first time I came to Penang, and my master, Ong Ming Thong, invited me to stay at his place. And this is when he introduced me to Master Fong Chai Kim. And so at the time you were very young.
Yeah, I haven't even started
It was not
training
my
yet.
first time.
But I remember Alexi as a very strong martial arts practitioner, and during that time we would always sometimes train push hands and do the taolu together. It was a very fond memory to me. And last year I had the opportunity to reconnect with Alexi after so many years, and was really happy to find so many commonalities between both of us. Like, he's also a vegetarian, and we're both really into training the body and mind in different ways. These days I'm also cross training a lot in
Okay.
yoga and martial arts. And so I find that I have still a lot to learn from the senior brother, Alexi. And do you mind
I have a
sharing?
lot of to learn from my seniors too, and the youngsters too.
You're just being really humble.
No, it's true.
And we were also planning to do a retreat together initially in the Himalayas this year, but because of the COVID-19 and a lot of problems going on this year, I'm not able to go back in the summer. And so
Yeah,
maybe a
that's
year
what
or
I
2
thought.
years from now. Oh, you mentioned about your training, Alexi. Do you actually train different taolu every day, or different, because you do about 40 minutes a day, right? How do
Actually,
you?
I should say 45 minutes because I train by 15 minutes blocks. If it means something to you, because I read somewhere that
Mhm.
after 15 minutes we lose focus, concentration.
Yep.
So after 15 minutes repeating the same exercise, so
Mhm.
I made this principle and my way of training for the last maybe 10, 15 years, something like that, 10 years,
Mhm.
that I never practice more than 15 minutes an exercise.
Mhm.
Because if I start to feel like I'm losing it, or it becomes like too mechanical,
Yep.
and I'm not totally focused on what I'm doing, I believe I'm wasting time doing that.
Yeah.
So I will keep on training, but I will change the exercise.
Mhm.
And also I will train different muscle groups, or say one day I would work more on my legs, the next day I
Mhm.
will work more on my fists,
Mhm.
the day after that I might work on conditioning, the hardening,
Yeah.
and but work more. So I mean, I do a little bit of each every day,
Mhm.
but I will focus on some parts a day after another. I never do the same training every day. I don't have, let's say, it's not a, I don't have a routine. I have a plan. You know
Mhm.
what I mean?
Yeah. Yep. I noticed
Because
that I think when we are like sort of bored of something, we tend to, I don't know, for me, myself, I would start getting a bit sleepy, like after 15 minutes of doing the same thing. And then that's when I felt like I had to change. And I do like flexibility training for one day, strength training for the other day, mobility training, and fetching training on the other day. I do also Tai Chi Chuan every day because I find that I like the flow, and it's not boring to me, but it might differ from people to people.
it's
And
not a question of being boring. It's
mhm,
because I have a tendency to repeat a lot and to tweak a lot. I'm also a musician, and I'm a producer. I produce albums and I mix albums.
mhm,
And I know that I have a tendency to get stuck into a small, very detailed concept,
mhm,
and sometimes forget the big picture. You know what I mean?
yeah,
The tendency that I have as an artist, you know, artist and autist is quite similar.
uh-huh, yeah,
You know what I mean?
mhm,
Um, we need a lot of dedication. We need to be very focused. And I realized that if I'm too much into the details of something, I will lose the
mhm,
big picture, and I will lose. Maybe I will get a few percentage of increasing my skill,
mhm,
uh, but if I let go of it and I work on something totally different, I will still improve the other part. You know what I
mhm,
mean?
yeah,
So for a while, there was when I started Saolim, my master used to tell me that my weaknesses are somebody else's strength. So
mhm,
there's no point in working on my weaknesses. Okay.
mhm,
Um, so I will improve on what was natural to me.
mhm,
And for this, I did for many years. because it's easier to keep the passion, to keep the enjoyment of practicing. But after a while, when I arrived, I had the chance to train a lot with champion of the world also, like in kickboxing, Brazilian jiu-jitsu. I train and fight with champions, and I've been friends with them for the last 10 years. In France, in Canada, I met a few world champions in judo, and we trained together, and to get to the next step, the next level, where everybody who is in the top champion level, they all have mastered their own skills. But the difference is some of them can really do everything. You know what I mean? They mastered every step, even the part that are not natural to them. And actually, after quite few years, they will only practice things they don't know how to do. But they practice them as a practice, not as something they will use. Not if it's not natural, they won't use it in fight.
Yeah,
they will. It's the same for music. I've been working with the top players around the world, and whenever the top players practice at home, they practice things they don't know, and they practice it very slow, and they try to feel the insight and make it natural, but they won't use it in their playing until it's totally natural. It's a second nature. You know what I mean? Because they are top players. They cannot. They have an audience in front of them. They have an opponent in front of them. They cannot have flaws. They cannot play. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they have to make it perfect.
In a competition situation or concert situation, the expectation from the audience or the opponent are too big to try something. So they will try when they practice. That's why they need sparring partners like me, where I'm not a competitor anymore, but I train with them because I like to push myself, and I like to be the dummy because I feel like I learn a lot. I like to be with people that are stronger than me. It helps me to get elevated, you know.
Yeah.
And I learn a lot. And even though I practice like Brazilian jiu-jitsu, I will practice Brazilian jiu-jitsu as a Sao Lim practitioner. I still feel like I'm doing Chinese martial arts because I try to adapt. I don't try to learn their way because it will be like a totally different set of skills to learn. And I just want to train my adaptability. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's the same with music. Right now I'm practicing saxophone. From lockdown, actually, you know, the first thing they told us is that coronavirus was something that would attack the lungs.
Yeah.
So as a Chinese physician also, I believe that if my body is trained to something, it will not get injured as easily from something that attacks the same part. So I decided that practicing my lungs would be the best way to avoid getting coronavirus or at least the effects of it, you know?
Yeah.
So this is why whenever I think we got in lockdown in France the March 17th and March 18th, I was trying to start learning saxophone. And now I play saxophone quite good, actually. So I'm happy. Yeah, because I practiced it about 8 hours a day. Like every day for about 3-4 weeks until my saxophone broke and I had to bring it to a repairer.
Yeah.
And he said, I don't know how you can play this thing. I said, well, I'm not playing it anymore. So it's all over the place because I took an old saxophone and it was not used to be played that much, you know?
Yeah. Was it Master Ming Thong who told you to work on your strength?
Yes, Ming Thong. He said that my weakness, the most important part was that my weaknesses were somebody else's strengths. I took it like, okay, so what is natural to me? What are my strengths? Is what my karma leads me to do. You know what I mean?
I'm really
in a
curious.
more Buddhist.
Yeah, in the Buddhist context, right?
Because Saolim, for those who don't know, is Utkapai, is the Buddhist school.
Yeah. So how would you answer if someone asks you what is your strength and your weakness in both martial arts and music?
I asked Ming Thong once. I said, but I don't know what my strength is. And he said, your best quality is your ego, but your worst quality is your ego.
It's a very Zen saying.
Yes, but I understand what he meant. And I still do, and I still think of it whenever I get stuck into something and I get angry because I'm stuck and I cannot achieve whatever I want to do. My ego is so strong that my belief that I can achieve whatever I want to do if I put time and efforts in it, and clever efforts. It's a quality, but at the same time it has this counterbalance that makes me sometimes frustrated when I don't achieve whatever I want. So this is why also I schedule my training practice into 15 minutes. Otherwise I will get angry. You know, it's kind of like someone who's playing too much video games. We can play video games for entertainment, but some people, they get very nervous about it, very crazy about it. And whenever they lose, they cry, they hit the joystick, and they break the console, whatever. You're like, man, it's just a game. But they don't feel like it's a game anymore, you know?
It becomes so strong in sort of like their identity as a gamer.
Yeah, it becomes so strong in the nervous system, I think. The nervous system, and the difference between what is life and what is the video game becomes very difficult.
Is that how you feel towards martial arts?
That's how I used to feel as a beginner who wanted to master martial arts. But now I know that mastering doesn't mean anything. So it can take a lifetime, and even more than a lifetime, to achieve whatever I feel like I should and I could maybe achieve once.
Yeah, but you know, you reminded me of Musashi, because I just finished reading this novel, and like Musashi, you know, people with a very strong ego in the beginning, like Musashi, but they have this very strong power inside of them that if they can, you know, smoothen out that ego, and then it becomes a great potential for them as well.
Yeah. I'm very humble to this. Mostly if you talk about Musashi, because I read the Book of Five Rings when I was 20 years old, and I think it followed me for many years. And to me, this guy is very impressive. He's a legend. So so I cannot compare to him. But
yeah. But since you mentioned about Master Ming Thong, can you share a little bit about how you started in Shaolin and how Master Ming Thong had guided you in this journey, and both your friendship and your mentorship relationship with Master Ming Thong?
The story is amazing when I think of it and I put it back as a lifetime, because it's been my teacher for about 21 years now. When I was 5 years old, I remember my mom asking me what I want to do as a sport, and I said I want to do Kung Fu. And she said, "Why is Kung Fu?" And I don't know why, but I think that we had this series at home when I was in France that was called Kung Fu, and with David Carradine, and it was the story about an ancient monk, Western monk, who would travel the USA, you know, during like the Far West time, and he would save people and had amazing power, martial power, and he would play the flute and be like a traveler, helping people. I don't know. And at the time, I remember they wanted me to do karate, and I said, "No, I don't want to do karate. I want to do Kung Fu." and even the sensei at the time said, "But it's the same thing." And I didn't want to do that. I said, "No, I want to do Kung Fu." And my mom said, "Well, anyway, you're going to get injured, so you will do soccer instead." So I did soccer. And after a year, I stopped soccer because I said, "No, I want to do Kung Fu." And she said, "Okay, you will do horse riding." So I studied horse riding for about 2 years. And after that, I had I did kayak. I did, like archery.
Yeah, archery.
She made me do so many things, but she never wanted me to do any martial art or combat sport. And when I was 14, I started the guitar, and I started to study guitar, and I became like totally into music. I would wake up at 4 a.m., 5 a.m. in the morning to train my guitar before I'm going to school. So I would play for 2 hours, trying to learn sight reading, because 14 years old for a musician is quite late. Whenever I will have finished school, I will run back to my place and to my parents, take my guitar, practice my scales, practice music. I really wanted to do it, and I was like in the end of secondary school, and I wanted to enter college with music as a major, and that was not possible because normally you have to do conservatoire, which is like the classical school of music that we do in France.
Yeah.
To get to this music major. So everyone in the other classes who did the conservatoire was making fun of me, because it was not possible in 1 year to learn everything that was supposed to be the prerequisite, the requisite to enter. But I trained like crazy. I went to see my grandfather, who had a music school at the time, and I told him, Grandpa, I need to learn solfège, which is like sight reading, the theory of music. And I said that the audition for the college is on Monday, and it was Friday night. So he said, okay, come to my place Saturday morning. And we stayed 48 hours in his office. And for 48 hours, he explained to me everything from Middle Age music, Mozart, modern style of music, jazz, everything. He explained to me all the theory in 48 hours. He said, did you remember everything? I said, yes. And then Monday, I passed the exam, and I went directly in the top level classes. That was amazing.
Well, and that was your grandfather.
Yeah, and these 48 hours I still use every day in my musical career as a musician. He taught me the most important principles of the theory of music. What is music as a theory? So now that I have the skill, I can apply it on every instrument. And Ming Thong, Master Ming Thong, had the same importance as my grandfather in my life. Because finally I arrived to Canada to do a major in music and a degree in music, first in a college there, and then to university. And I had a problem. I learned so fast music, and I played so much guitar from the start that I got tendinitis. And after 3 years of practicing like super intensively, like 4 years, I started to not be able to move my arm anymore. And my elbow was painful. My wrist was painful. Also later I learned that I have a disease. But at the time, it's because I stopped doing any sport. I was not doing sport at all. For about 4 or 5 years, I stopped doing everything. I would just practice guitar, practice music.
Ooh, and before I forget, I actually asked Alexis if he could perform something for us at the end of the show, but his studio mics are also tied up with some other projects. But he's shared with me some of his favorite videos of him performing and singing, which I will be including here. So do enjoy, and
la 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 la. I'm an ordinary man from an ordinary place. Life is hard, but it's how it goes. I should carry on and on. I waste my time, but I'm so scared. I don't want to die alone. I will enlighten someday. I want to stand on my own. I miss your love, I miss our life. How did all these things happen? I'm too young to lose my hope. I don't want to die alone. I can tell you what to do. You should know that I loved you. But I'm an ordinary man from an ordinary place, on an ordinary race. I'm so ordinary. I have nothing I can share. I don't even want to fight. I'm just me, it makes me sorry. I can't give you more than love. I'm an ordinary man, afraid of love, afraid of death. What can I say more than this? I'm an ordinary race, from an ordinary place. I'm so ordinary. La 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 la. I'm so ordinary. La 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 la. I'm so ordinary. La 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 la. I'm so ordinary. La 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 la. You're not so ordinary.
And I went to see a chiropractor, and he said, "Man, you're 18 years old. You cannot even touch your feet." I couldn't raise my hands and do this, you know.
Yeah.
That was not possible. My body was all stiff because I would spend hours playing the guitar. So he told me, you need to learn something like yoga or whatever, something to stretch your body. And so I was in Canada. My mom was not there anymore, so I didn't tell her, but I entered a yoga school, yoga class at first. And after only maybe 3 or 6 months practicing yoga every day, because whenever I do something, I do it very intensively, I realized that I felt like I needed more power, something more powerful. And I went back to this idea that I always wanted to do Kung Fu. At the same time, I moved to Montreal, and I was looking for an apartment, and I saw an advertisement for someone teaching Kung Fu class. It was not Ming Thong. It was a Shaolin, Northern Shaolin style Kung Fu. Taught by a Canadian guy, a French-speaking Canadian. So it was not Asian. When I say that, it has an importance. I'm very lucky to had later on a master that was Asian, and to become part of the school of Penang with all these. It's not like a race thing. It's about the importance of Sao Lim, the importance of Kung Fu, and the spirit that comes with it, the way that you do it, the way that it has to be done. It's cultural. This part cannot be taught by a non-Asian or someone who never been to Asia and live as an Asian. On your description, you said I think you said you're the most Asian Westerner I know, or something like that.
I said you're one of the most truly Asian Westerner by heart.
Yes, but because I saw the difference also. So I trained Northern Shaolin for about a year and a half, and it was very natural to me, like really natural, like something I did before. And this is when I started to study Musashi, actually. And in the book of Five Ring, it says that if you train the thing hard enough, the thing will reveal itself to you.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah.
Whenever you practice the way will reveal itself. And you won't know if it was meant to be or if you did it because you wanted to do it.
Mm-hmm.
The moment will become what I think is Kung Fu, actually.
Mm-hmm.
It's you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I felt like we were missing this part in this school. And I started to ask questions, and the instructor didn't like me asking questions. And actually, he started to bully me.
Mm.
That was quite weird. He will do demonstration with me, and he will try on purpose to injure me.
Mm.
I didn't understand, like as if I did something wrong, you know.
Yeah.
I didn't know what was the problem, and I started to doubt a little bit. And I told my other Kung Fu brothers at the time, man, I don't know why he's doing this to me. And they were like, yeah, he's quite angry at you. And I was like, how come, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And I heard that this master from Malaysia arrived from Switzerland to Montreal.
Mm-hmm.
And he didn't want to take any students.
Mm.
That was something very interesting to me.
Yeah.
Because, okay, the guy doesn't want students. He wants me.
It's like Karate Kid, like the movie Karate Kid.
Yeah, that was the magical, like, Chinese story, Zen story, you know.
Uh-huh.
So I tried to get his phone number, and that was quite complicated until I met someone who actually took a private lesson with Ming Thong. The guy was on Ming Thong. And this friend of mine, Eric, said, man, I took one lesson with him. I couldn't do anything. He made me do 500 kickings, 1,000 punches. We did like throwing arms, something. And I was so sore and everything. And I said, okay, but are you seeing him again? He said, oh, no, I don't want. It was too hard. And the guy I'm talking about was, he was practicing wrestling. So he was quite strong, and he was used to training, and he trained professional wrestling. So he was really good. And he said that this master asked him to push him, and he couldn't even move him. He said, I pushed with all my strength. And I said, but how big is he? He's so small. How come? There was something magical about the story that Eric told me about Ming Thong, you know, and I was like, okay, I really need to meet with this master. It's amazing. This is what I want to learn. It's not if one punches you like this, you put your hand like that, and
yeah.
I always believed that there was something more to the body than just the manifestation of the body, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And so I got his phone number by my friend Eric, and I called Ming Thong, Master Ong. I left him a message. I waited for about a week. He didn't call me back. So I called again. I left another message. I didn't get a reply for about 2 weeks. And I thought, if I was myself an instructor, and I will receive a phone call from someone who knows somebody who never called back, I would not call him back.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yep.
Because Eric gave up. So maybe he thought I was someone who would give up. That was inside my head.
Mm-hmm.
The true story is not that. I will tell you later.
Okay.
So I started to call Ming Thong every day. For about a month. I left a message every day for 30 days. Until finally he answers. And I said, hello, Master Ong, my name is Alexis. And he said, yeah, I know you are. What's your problem? He said, I was in Asia. I was in Malaysia. Why do you leave so many messages on my phone?
Gosh, that must be expensive on your side.
I don't know, but that was crazy. I thought it was a test, and actually he was just that he was not able to answer his phone. But yeah, we laughed about it later on, but at the time he was very angry.
Uh,
And he said, why the hell do you want to learn Kung Fu if you already have an instructor? And I said, okay, I'm not happy with my instructor. And the reason I want to learn Kung Fu is because I think there's more to it. I think when I see my life, sometimes I will injure people and I don't want them to get injured. But I believe that learning how to kill is the best way for me to learn how to live.
mm-hmm.
And I want to know how to live.
Mm-hmm.
And Ming Thong didn't say anything. There was a silent moment for a few seconds. And he said, okay, we're going to meet. And he said, let's meet in 1 month in a park somewhere in Montreal.
Okay.
So I was excited, like very ecstatic. And for about a month, I kept it like a secret. Only a few of my brothers from the Shaolin school knew that I was going to meet somebody else, because if my instructor would have known that, he would have killed me. Like literally, he was crazy. Yeah? He was quite crazy. He couldn't stand what he called disrespect. But disrespect to him was you put his words in question.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, now that I went through Sao Lim with Master Thong and everybody else and Ming Thong, I know it's not the way.
Right.
There's a difference between asking someone to give the best they can give you and asking someone to follow you blindly, even though what you're asking them to do is crazy and stupid.
Yeah.
And react as a bully if somebody says, but why?
Yeah, I think a good teacher is more student-centered and not so much on himself or herself.
Yeah, he did. I think it's because now that I see it, and with many years of practice and everything, I think he didn't have that much skill at the time. He was quite a young instructor. And the problem is I was so dedicated that I caught up very fast.
Yeah.
And for some things that took him like 9 years, I could do in about a few months.
Yeah.
Because it's not that I'm talented. Like I don't like the word talented, because I know how much efforts I put on it.
Yeah.
How many hours, how many all the inside the meditation I will do to figure out what's the problem. Why cannot I do it?
Yep. Yeah, I think I read somewhere in a book that talent equals effort times time or something. The more effort and the more time you put into a training, and you become the more talented.
And mostly now that I know world champions, these guys are amazing, and imagine these guys are world champion. Nobody is better than them. And I know a few. Like I have 4 of my best friends, martial friends, who are world champion. They haven't been beaten for the last 5 years, 6 years, 4 years. Cedric Doumbé is a glory world champion, and is undefeated for the last 3 years. My friend Julien da Silva has been 6 times overall. He's been world champion, and is for the last 6 years he's been champion of jiu-jitsu in France in every category. Black belts, every weight category. Is 88 kilos, but he beats everybody, even the biggest one.
Wow.
He's the best. And these guys, they are very humble, but they train a lot. Man, they really train, and they enjoy the training. Fighting is just part of the training. It's just a way to measure if they are training well or not. It's just their way of saying they don't train for the competition. They train to know themselves more, to improve themselves. And they will go to competition because that's what helps getting the money, the sponsors.
Yeah.
They don't even, of course, they aim for first place. Whenever you enter a competition, you need to aim for the first place. It's a competition. That's the point of the competition.
Yeah.
They aim for first place because that's what they need to do to be able to live and get money to practice more.
Yeah.
Anyway.
And so you haven't finished your story yet, right?
Yeah. So I met the day finally arrived when I had to meet Ming Thong.
Uh-huh.
So at the time, I asked my roommate, I said, okay, I will not move all day to have all my strength possible.
Yeah.
If he asked me to do 1,000 kicking, whatever, I want to be ready. So I asked my roommate to bring me by car there. I didn't want to walk. I was really like...
saving up all your energy.
Yes, I was crazy. I was scared, actually. I didn't know what to expect.
Yep.
So I arrived there at 5 p.m. That's the time we agreed on.
Mm-hmm.
And it was not there yet, so I was looking around trying to... At the time, we didn't have like as much internet, so I never saw a picture or whatever. I didn't know how it looks like.
You just need to find an Asian guy.
Yes! And he actually found me. He arrived on his bicycle and he said, are you Alexis? Yes, I am. Okay, good. Okay, so you've been practicing already. Show me what you can do. And at the time, I knew a few taolus. One was from northern style, Shaolin.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So he sat next to a tree, and I started to do my form.
Mm-hmm.
I did the first one. It was
something like
looking,
Was it like Chan Quan or something?
It was Tan Tui.
Tan Tui, okay. So he was hardly looking at it.
Yeah. So when I finished, my heart was already like beating like crazy because I gave my all,
Yeah.
And I said, should I do another one? And he said, well, if you want, you can. Okay. So I did the second one, and he started to yawn,
Yeah.
I was like, oh, okay. But at the time, the only reference I had was the level of my instructor in the Northern Shaolin School, and the other students. So I didn't know what good Kung Fu was.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know, and we never met. I never met the real thing. And Ming Thong said, well, it's not very good.
Okay.
I'm like, okay. Before you do all these movements, you need to learn how to punch. Okay. And he said, let me show you. And he came close to me. He put his fist on my chest.
Uh-huh.
And he was standing straight in front of me, So at the time, I thought that you need distance to give a punch, Mm-hmm. I didn't know about Fatin or whatever.
Mm.
And he arrived and he just did something like that. And I flew back like 4 or 5 steps, like almost 2 meters away,
Mm-hmm.
And it was so small.
Yeah.
I did it. And I felt power. I felt pressure. I felt like an order, like he ordered my body to go back.
Uh-huh.
It was very, very different from everything I did at the time. I also trained a little bit of Taekwondo, but all these principles were the same. Like you move your waist, you turn the body,
mm-hmm.
you create an acceleration, and accelerations and weight gives power,
Mm-hmm.
But you needed space to do that,
mm-hmm.
and distance. And he said, did you understand? And I said, yes. But at the time, I didn't know Ming Thong. So I said, I thought he said, do you understand how strong I am?
Uh-huh.
Because that's what the other teachers kind of used to teach me.
Yeah.
Look how strong I am. But that's not what Ming Thong meant. But at the time, I didn't know him. So I didn't know. So I said, yes, I understand. He said, oh, good. So you can go now. I was like, sorry, what did I understand? He said, but you didn't understand. And because somehow I felt like I was stupid, I said, yes, okay, no problem. And I prepared, I had a pao, some money prepared.
Mm-hmm.
So I gave him the money. He said, no need. I said, yes, please, master, and everything. So he accepted it. And I went back home. So I arrived about 30 minutes after my roommate left me,
Yeah.
And she was like, you here already? Yes. But He didn't come? Yes, he came. Was it good? And I say, well, I don't know. Okay. Did he think you're good? I don't think so. And she asked me other questions. Said, but did he give you something to do? And not really. Okay. And so I didn't want to talk about it. I was quite disappointed about myself once again. Huh? My ego is very strong. So like I said, it's all an ego question. Somehow I think I wanted him to take me as a student. Yeah. I wanted him to think like I was very good. I was not surprised that he thought I was very bad. And I felt very bad about myself not being able to be better. But how could I have been better? Because I didn't know about those things, actually. I didn't even know it existed. This way of refining the power, of putting every power your muscle have in the order that makes it explode in one punch. You know? Yeah. I didn't know what it meant to do that. So now that I see it, it was childish of me to be angry about myself, you know? But it's okay. I was young. I was 20, maybe 21. Okay. So. And 20 between 20 and 21 years old. And when I went to bed at night, the weirdest thing happened. I started to see what happened and rethink it in my head, you know. I felt the pressure on the chest. I really could feel his punch, you know, even though he didn't do nothing. And I used to be kicked by my other instructor and kicked quite violently. And somehow the idea that the punch he gave me was more like a love punch. Really, he punched me in the way that he wanted me to learn something. Something that you cannot describe by words, that you need to make the student feel. You need to teach him how to feel the power so he can reproduce this power. And I felt that because he was standing, he had to do this thing, this order thing, where every muscle got tense in a second, but in a certain order. So the next day I tried. And I couldn't, because my muscle, I couldn't control my back muscle. Yeah, I was trained in the way that you move to achieve power. You push your legs and you get off balance to create momentum. Yeah. But to really contract a muscle in one time after another, to create like a whip motion, but vertically instead of horizontally. Yep. I couldn't do that. So I said, okay, I need to do push-ups. But super slow push-ups. And use only the muscle I need. And to separate the abs from the cores, from the lower back muscle, I need to understand every muscle. It's a very Western approach. I don't know. That's the only thing I thought of, you know? Like gym, right? Sort of like I need to understand every muscle and I thought I need to wake every muscle in my body and control them and be conscious of each of them, of each one of them, you know, even the smallest one. So I did push-ups, super slow, like super slow yoga, plank. You know what I mean? Something like that. Yep. It became quite close to yoga training, but power yoga training, you know? Yep. Until I later, when I started to feel every muscle, I will do the same doing my taolus, the one I showed Ming Thong before, all contracted, very contracted, to make sure that every muscle is used in every position. And I remember once, because I was training that so much and still going to the other school, the instructor told me, "What are you doing? That's stupid. It's not like this. You do the training." And I went back to the other way and I was, "Oh, sorry." Like I didn't do it on purpose, you know? but I started to feel the power everywhere, up to the fingertips, up to my toes, grasping the floor.
Yeah.
But only tense power, no relaxation, so no speed, no thinking, no relaxation.
Right.
And I was quite able to relax a little bit. So I called Ming Thong and I said, okay, I think I can do it now. It was a month already. And he said, okay, so we can meet in 3 months. I was like, what? I trained so much. Why 3 months more? But I say, okay. This I said in my head. I didn't tell him. So I said, okay, 3 months, no problem. Perfect. For 3 more months, I trained, but getting tense, trying to feel the power, trying to release my power as much as I could. But I was stuck. And ultimately we met, and he said, okay, show me your form, your chapter. So I showed it. I did whatever I could. And he said, oh, it's very different now. Very good. And I was like, yeah, yes. all this I had to process on my own, so I wasn't sure if I was in the right direction or not. And he said, okay, now that you know how to punch, I will show you how to kick. So he said, you lift your knee and you kick. Understood?
蹬脚, is that 蹬脚?
Yes. I said, understood? Yes, understood. Okay, call me back in 3 months. What? Wait. I said, wait, sorry, Master. Maybe, I do this a lot every day. Maybe if you could show me something else. He said, okay, I'll show you how to throw arms. So you take your arms, you open the elbows, and you throw arms. Is it okay? Yeah, this one. I was yeah, okay. Okay, so you do that, and you call me back in 3 months. Okay. So I gave him money. He didn't want to accept it again. He said, no, thank you, no problem. But please take it anyways. And I trained for 2 months. And I called him back. I said, I think I know how to throw arms now. And I think I know how to kick. I train so much. Like, I don't know how many times per day. Like, thousands and thousands of times. That was crazy. At first, I was so painful, like sore everywhere. But I couldn't figure out how he achieved this kind of speed and power. Of course, I was only practicing it for a few months. But at the time, I really believed that if I put my mind into it, I can achieve anything. But what I didn't understand is that Ming Thong used to train that for years, and a lot too. You know what I mean? He had many years of advance on me. And so I called him back and I said, okay, I think I can do it. And he said, okay, let's meet next month. So this time was 1 month. I was happy. And we met, and I showed him. He said, good. Now I will show you how to walk. Because if you want to run, you need to know how to walk.
Okay.
I'm like, okay, right? And this is when he showed me pakwa stepping. So he said, yeah, pakwa san, but walking straight first.
Okay.
He showed me that, and I think he showed me santisu also. The santisu, the basic structure of the Xingyi Yeah, santisu.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, santisu.
Right, santisu. So he showed me that and walking like pakwa walking. And he said, okay, so practice that. Call me back in 3 months. I was like, okay, no problem. I went back home and I walked pakwa-san straight for hours and hours. I was like literally cleaning the floor, you know? The floor was getting cleaned up like it's never been before. Because I would use my my socks, with socks walking, you know. So, anyways, I did that for hours.
Mm-hmm.
So all that took about a year. And I called him and I said, okay, I think I can walk straight now. He said, okay, let's meet. And I thought we would meet in the park. And he said, let's meet for cafe, for coffee. You know?
A change.
That was quite a big change.
Yeah.
I was like, really? But why would you want to? I don't drink coffee. He said, it's okay, you can drink tea. Okay. And it was almost Christmas at the time. And he didn't ask me to show him anything. He said, okay, first thing first, let me give you that. So he gave me back my money.
Okay.
He said, if you want to practice Kung Fu, you need to eat. And from your body, you don't eat enough. At the time, I was very skinny. And I had no money because I was a very poor musician. I was trying to do my best, but as a beginner, like professional musician, I didn't have many gigs. And also, I didn't know how to make money at the time. And I remember I told Ming Thong that if I don't have enough money to eat, it's because music is not well paid. And he said, you have the value you want to have. If you play, let's say business is called show business, is a game. So let's say you want to play a game, you can lose or you can win. And you can win fair or you can win
unfair,
cheating.
Yep.
So, but it's all a game. Next time someone call you, what's the maximum you ask right now to do a concert? And I said, $50. $50 for a concert. Next time, ask for $500. And I was like, what? He said, you're professional? Yes. You can do the job? Yes. How much is a guitar? Mine is $10,000. So $500 is nothing compared to 500 to 10,000. Yes. Yep. So next time, ask for $500.
Okay.
I got a call the same week, and I asked for 500. The guy said, "What? Okay, I give you 350."
And did you accept it?
Of course. And I was like, "Shit, 350."
That's how
that
much
was
percentage?
Crazy.
Wow, 700% increase.
That
increment
increase in one phone call in a few days, just because I said that. And what happened was amazing. I got so much respect from all the musicians in the band because I was paid so much. They all thought I was probably the best guitar player they ever had. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It even had an impact on their mind. And from this day, I never went out under $300. And actually, when I was touring with Cornet and everything, I got like 3,000, 5,000 for one concert. The money got crazy.
Wow.
I became a very successful musician just because he told me that it was a game. You know?
Yep.
And I trusted him so much.
Right.
And also this time, so we had the coffee and tea. And he said, okay, would you like to be my student?
Wow.
So I was, yeah, of course. And from this day, he said, you know, it's going to be very hard. Okay. Like super hard. Like, okay, I'm ready to work. And from this day, we started in January, and he trained me almost every day at his place, at my place. We started to write a book together about iron shirt. About pushing hands.
Pushing hands.
He had a book about iron shirt written already, so he started to train me in the iron shirt training, the iron palm training. He made me learn all the basics of Saolim.
Yeah.
He taught me for many years after that, maybe 3 years training almost every day or every 2 days. We opened the school together. I helped him open the school. I did all the flyers and advertising, going everywhere to say, oh, now there's a master teaching Pak Wat San. And
And Shaolin.
We had many people interested at first, and every time the training was so hard, we always finished only the two of us,
Uh-huh.
So after a while, he was actually paying the renting of the places for me to be able to learn from him. That was amazing.
Wow.
And something really happened 3 years after that, because I was always, we were in a master and student relationship, really.
Yeah.
But I asked him, I said, what are you doing on Friday? It was Monday in January. He said, why? I said, because it's my birthday. And he said, no, it's my birthday. And I say, no, it's my birthday. He said, wait, when are you born? I said, January 11th. He said, oh, me too.
Really? So you two have the same birthday?
And even better, we have 12 years difference.
Oh.
So we have the same animal.
Which animal zodiac?
Horse.
Horse.
We are both horse. He's a earth horse. I'm a fire horse. He said, yeah, that's why you have so much problem.
The fiery horse
is better than fire.
Yeah.
And that was amazing to realize after about 4 years that we knew each other, that we actually had the same birthday and the same animal. I don't know, but for Asian, you understand the concept. You know what it means. It's like super amazing.
Yeah.
That's why we were so involved, I suppose, and we still are. He's really my senior in life, and I still turn to him whenever I have problems or questions. I always ask him first. And most of the time he say, Alex, just meditate. Meditate. If you have the question, you have the answer. So, and later on, he told me that year he was going to move back to Malaysia. And if I wanted to, I could join him. He will give me shelter for 1 year, 2 years. Say, you only pay for your flying ticket. I pay the rest of the expenses for you. But you need to train. And at the time, my musical career was getting quite good. I just released a second album. I was touring a lot. And I'd say to everyone in Montreal, I say, okay, I'm leaving. They were like, what? Why? Because I want to train Kung Fu.
So you left for a year or two in Malaysia?
I wanted to go for 2 years. But at first I went 3 months to Mexico to train and to teach. Well, that's a long story, but to teach self-defense to strippers, to dancers, girls. So I had this friend who had a gentleman's club, and he asked me to if I wanted to train the girls. And in exchange, I would not have to pay for the rent and for the food, and I could train because in Mexico it was during winter, it was summer. And I left Mexico, and I arrived to Penang a day after tsunami, the Sumatra tsunami, the first one.
Right.
Big one.
In fact, Penang was hit by the tsunami as well. I think 70 something people died.
Batu Ferringhi was destroyed, some part of it.
Yeah.
So I arrived at a moment where there was a chaos, kind of.
Yeah. Just to give our audience a quick understanding of why you came to Penang instead of China to learn Shaolin, I think a lot of people doesn't know that actually, because a lot of Chinese great masters, they left China before the Civil War. So a lot of traditional Shaolin martial arts actually got transmitted to Southeast Asia among the local Chinese population here. And we also call Shaolin here as Sao Lim because it's a way we say in Taiwanese Hokkien dialect. Yeah. So sometimes we might use Sao Lim or we use Shaolin, both of them.
Yes, this is totally true, and a lot of people don't actually believe it, even when I say it.
Mm-hmm.
They don't know their, even Asian people don't know their own history now. The youngster,
Yeah.
and the history of the martial arts. They all believe that they are still traditional kung fu training at the Shaolin temple in China.
Mm-hmm.
But the true story is that the real old masters, they all left because of the civil war there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Anyways, yeah. But at the time, I didn't think of all that. I didn't know all that either. I just followed my master.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
When I said that to my parents, this is the funny story too. I said to my parents that I was leaving Montreal to go train kung fu. They say, "What the hell?" Because they didn't know how much kung fu was important to me, because I didn't tell them, because they were at first they were paying for my studies in music, and they paid so much money that I felt ashamed to tell them that most of the time I actually practiced kung fu, not music. And I was doing quite well in music, so they believed I trained that much music like before,
Mm-hmm.
But actually, I really trained about 2 years. 1 year in college, 1 year in university, and the technical parts, the rest, I improved my music because of the knowledge I had about my body through kung fu.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Saolim training is so complete. It's a whole system. And when you incorporate the qigong, because it taught me iron shirt training, but also qigong breathing, all the exercises, at the time, the conditioning.
Was it when you mentioned the qigong, was it the 18 Lohan qigong, the one where you have the yin and the yang?
Now we train yin qing.
You know
the
yeah.
Yes. This one
was this
the basic
taught by Master Peng?
It was taught to me by Ming Thong.
Okay.
So I'm not sure where he got it.
Okay.
Ong Ming Thong is like, how to say, he's versed in many different styles. He's a master of different martial arts, and also he's a doctor in biochemistry. He has an understanding of the body in a cellular way, and also as a Chinese doctor, that not many people know about, So if it was taught or not taught, if some things also, I know Master Pang taught him personally. At the time, there were secrets also between the brothers, and it's not really secrets. If someone has a specific body, you cannot make him train the same thing as someone who doesn't have the same body.
Yeah.
If you have just even if we have the same height, if my legs are longer than my torso, it will give me an advantage for kicking, but I'll be less good at punching from far. So I cannot tell you this. I don't know. I know that he taught me that. He taught me part of the 18 Lohan also for the to get more power. He taught me the Xingyiquan, 5 elements, and the 12 animals. At the time, I learned the 8 mortar palm in Pakwatsan. Yeah. So all this I learned before I arrived to Penang. Actually, I think he gave me a lot of, a lot of things to work on, because he knew he will not stay in Canada.
Okay.
And I don't know if he realized that I will follow him at the time. And so my father was like, "No, you will never go to Malaysia. Why do you want to go there? What kind of thing is a master? And you're getting like crazy. What the hell is that?"
Yeah.
And Ming Thong said, "Okay, where is your father?" I say, "In France." "Okay, we go see him in France." I'm like,
wow.
What? So he was with his sister and cousin, I think. And he arrived by plane in France to meet my father. He spent the day with him, and when they came back from hiking somewhere, I don't know what they did. my father said, okay, you can go with Ming Thong if you want. And I said, but what did he tell you? And he said, he made me promise not to tell you.
Oh, did you eventually found out? You never know.
I never found out.
Okay, I'll ask him secretly the next time I saw him.
my father said later that it was something like, there's one master, one disciple.
Uh-huh.
And it's very rare for a master to find his disciple.
Uh-huh.
So that's something like this that he told her.
Mm-hmm. It's about an hour now. Do you need to leave soon?
Yes, and there's someone coming at my place, so maybe we can talk later.
Okay, sure. We'll do this in a second episode then. All right, people. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you guys enjoyed the conversation with Alexis. I have to apologize that the conversation had to end in a quite abrupt manner. I've actually prepared a list of rapid fire questions that I didn't get to ask Alexis, but he's got another appointment going on. But Alexis promised me that we'll do a sequel to this podcast episode, and we'll dig into his experience with traditional Chinese medicine, how he became an acupuncturist, and yeah, he's got some really interesting feeling forward stories that he's yet to share, but he's told me before last year. So I'm really eager to share them with you next time. Let me know what you think about this interview podcast. Comment below or share with your friends if you find it useful. And I hope to see you next time. Have a nice day. Bye-bye.